If you've been on the internet for a while, you've probably at least heard of the term carcinization, if not at least its actual meaning. Now, many take this term to mean that if given enough time, everything will eventually evolve into a crab, or that if you optimize any animal enough, it will eventually become a crab. And sure, while it's fun and quite silly, it's led to a few misunderstandings about basic biology and other such misconceptions becoming quite prevalent among the general population. So, as someone with a vague knowledge and interest in biology, specifically its evolutionary aspects, I want to make this video to essentially set the facts straight. No, crabs are not the ultimate life form. Now, essentially how ecosystems work is off of something called niche partitioning. This, of course, is what allows for creatures to coexist without being in direct competition with each other, thereby preventing an ecosystem from being made up of one species. If you have an animal that eats a specific kind of leaf, you'll likely have another animal that eats that animal, and so on and so forth. But the interesting thing is, when two species are in competition for the same niche, and I don't mean two creatures that fill different niches engaging in interspecies competition, but rather two species attempting to fill the same ecological role, one is almost always wiped out, with the other taking over that niche entirely. This is called the competitive exclusion principle, or CEP for short. And the more successful species tends to be whichever has the traits that are better suited to filling this niche. So let's take that principle and the fact that the traits of an organism often determine how successful this organism will be in its niche, and then apply it to crustaceans. So, across the world, there are a myriad of crab-like creatures that aren't very closely related. However, when you take the factor of natural selection into account, the reason why becomes evident. It isn't that crabs are some superorganism and that if it lives it will become a crab, but rather that the crab body plan is just very good for an amphibious, beachcombing crustacean that serves the role of a detritivore or scavenger. So yes, in a sense I like you, and crabs are the ultimate life form. But only if you are a small crustacean that survives via scavenging. Simply put, other body plans for such amphibious detritivores evidently work more poorly than the body plan of the crab. So detritivorous crustaceans become crabs. Whereas if you look at, say, the role of an apex predator, the crab body plan won't be very good, as the weight of the armor, the fact that the claws of the crab are rather impractical at a larger scale, and the fact that it's crustacean, and thereby would breathe through spiracles, means that almost under no circumstances would a crab become anything more than it is, and that's a detritivorous animal. So, yeah, that's the video. Bit short this one was, but I suppose I at least gave you the information that I set out to give you, so mission accomplished. Okay, so until next time, you all have a great one. See you fellas, get out. Also, if you are wondering what the ultimate life form is, it's the goanna, known to you non-Aussies as the monitor lizard. They're across 3 continents, they have long toes for climbing, can swim very well thanks to their long, very flat tails that generate a lot of thrust. They're also quite fast for reptiles due to their semi-upright stance. They're very intelligent, they have very good senses, they've got a pretty quick metabolism, meaning that they could become what you would call endothermic and branch off into warmer climates. When not warmer climates, colder climates, and all of this also means that they can essentially speciate into pretty much anything. Mark my words, when this world goes to shit and the current mass extinction is over, the goanna will be the ancestor for a lot of new organisms.